What can you say when you look at this image? And what about this one? It's funny how opinions on this matter can differ so much. Some people find them scary and unsettling, while for others, these images bring nothing but a smile. What if they have secrets that aren't visible at first glance? Today, I'm going to show you 5 of the most disturbing images that will definitely keep you up tonight. And if you've ever watched the Mandela Catalogue, you definitely would have come across this person in the very first episode. There's something about his disproportionate face that is somewhat unsettling. Maybe it's the wide-set eyes, or perhaps the creepy smile and the unnatural shape of his head. In any case, I definitely wouldn't want to meet him. The creepy show quickly became popular, and the mysterious man in the black hood managed to go far beyond a single episode, gaining a personality and a developed backstory. Only one question remained: who is this person? The author of the Mandela Catalogue said that he remembered this image by chance when he was selecting characters for his video. He learned about the hooded man from a little-known creepypasta called Despair Code, published on the anonymous forum 4chan around 2016. It described the existence of a special digital or visual code that made people who saw it feel deeply depressed and even physically ill. The story was accompanied by a disturbing image, which was later used by the author of the Mandela Catalogue. However, this is not the original source. In December 2015, a thread appeared on 4chan from a user in Albania, accompanied by this same image. This date is considered the day when the man in the black hood began to rapidly gain popularity on the internet, becoming known as the Albanian. The fame led not only to a large number of various creepy stories and fan art featuring him, but also drew the attention of people determined to find out the real origins of this image. Their searches were quite lengthy, but far from unsuccessful. A video titled "Life" was found on YouTube, published on December 16, 2007, long before the Albanian appeared on 4chan. Let's watch it, if you're not afraid. Personally, this video mostly made me smile, although I did like the music. What's important for us here is that this is the first appearance of a hooded man on the internet. Or is it not that simple? By some miracle, an article from November 6, 2007, titled "Burglar Attacks Woman in Kirkwood" was found in an internet archive. It told a story that was fully described by its headline: "A woman returned home and caught a burglar rummaging through her things. Nothing irreparable happened, but the criminal was never caught." And the Albanian, who became the hero of many creepy stories and funny pictures, is actually his police sketch. So, this is a real person. Personally, I always thought of this image as something completely non-scary, at most just causing a smile. But after learning its true story, I started to look at it in a slightly different way. Now that we're done with this case, let's move on to our next disturbing image. What do you feel when you look at this photo? If it gives you an irrational feeling of anxiety or unease, then you're not alone. Many people believe that this mysterious goat hides something more than it seems at first glance, and today we'll try to figure out if that's really the case. If you try to search for this image on the internet, you'll definitely come across many variations of it, ranging from weird and somewhat funny to almost identical to the original. Different camera angles can only suggest that these are frames from some video we don't know yet. And in short, this is indeed the case. The original video with the creepy goat was published on September 5, 2018 on the Instagram page owned by a user named Adele Morse. The public quickly became intrigued by the humanoid pose of the animal, as well as its complete stillness, despite the camera movements and the bright flashlight. Even the filming location looks like some kind of basement or crypt. It's not surprising that people found this video quite disturbing. However, the main question is this: do you think this goat is real? Before I tell you the truth, I'd like you to check yourself and write your opinion in the comments. Can you really tell? And although people have different opinions on this matter, there is only one correct answer. The creepy, motionless goat is not real. You can even tell this even from Adele Morse's page itself, which is full of similar animals of different shapes and sizes that have undergone the procedure of ethical taxidermy. I'm almost sure that you've already seen this fox. Just like in the previous case, whether this image is creepy or funny depends only on the context defined by its author. You can find quite a few memes featuring this goat on YouTube, and yet it genuinely scares some people. In short, it's all about our perception. But let's not dwell on this and move on to our next disturbing image. I had that dream again, about the horse on the stairs. This brief description is the only thing that accompanied the photo you now see on your screen. A strange creature with a head shaped like a horse's skull, a long neck resembling a bone, and a faded mane. What feelings does it evoke in you? If it causes anxiety, then there's nothing surprising about it. So thought the few people who first saw what soon became known as Long Horse. Published on August 24, 2018 on Tumblr, this image didn't initially attract much attention. However, the situation quickly changed, and the creature with the long neck became very popular on the internet. How did this happen? Despite the fact that the original author's account on Tumblr has already been deleted, we surely know his name, Trevor Henderson. Answering in advance the question of what this photo is, Trevor is a graphic artist. It's hard to cover all of his works. However, I'm sure you've definitely seen this character somewhere. I think that the main contribution to the popularity of many of his creations was made by numerous videos on YouTube showing them with creepy music. That's exactly how I first saw Long Horse. There are quite a few variations of this image, including even short fan-made films, but for some reason, I like the original photo the most. Personally, it doesn't seem that disturbing to me, although I would definitely feel differently if I stumbled upon something like this in the middle of the night, especially at home. As for the nature of this creature, it's quite harmless and only appears to warn people about approaching dangers or just something bad in general. For example, an impending heart attack. Unlike Siren Head, the popularity of Long Horse faded as quickly and quietly as it once appeared. Perhaps making content with such a complex character isn't as easy as it seems at first glance. In any case, this was already the third disturbing image, and now we're moving on to the next one, but not the last. What I can say about this image is that it's really old and even more famous. I can recall many moments when I accidentally stumbled upon it on the internet. A creepy creature with a wolf's head, big mouth, and human hands climbing up the stairs towards the author of the photo. It's really hard to forget. What's most interesting is that its origin is quite unclear. Image search services consider November 13, 2012 to be the earliest date this image was published, but this is clearly not the case. The problem was that there were simply no other clues for a long time. Such mystery and disturbing atmosphere of the photo ensured its wide popularity on the internet. One question always remained: where did it even come from? It was quite difficult to answer this, as the author was in no hurry to get in touch. This uncertainty gave rise to many theories regarding the origin of the photo and what is depicted in it, ranging from a single surviving frame from some horror movie to a failed prank and even a real werewolf. There were even people claiming authorship of the image for themselves. Each of them had their own story about how and where they took it, but no additional footage or evidence. All this came to an end when the original photo was finally found in the online gallery DeviantArt. Besides the publication date and a rather vague description, there's nothing else here. The question of the authorship of the disturbing image was still open. It would have remained that way if someone hadn't managed to restore a deleted page with the single photo. A man in a formal suit poses in the mask of that very werewolf. There is also a small fragment of a chat between its author and website visitors in which he talked about selling the mask, and also that it's not a werewolf or even a wolf, but an ordinary Doberman. It seems that we got answers to all questions, but the sale of the mask caused some confusion. Does this image really belong to its creator? A lot of time has passed since then, so it's unlikely we'll ever know this for sure. At least the werewolf is definitely not real, and that's certainly a relief, but the circumstances of the filming and the identity of this person still remain a mystery. When I saw this image for the first time, I thought it would be quite easy to explain its origin, but I was very wrong. Trying to find out anything about it, I encountered many problems and questions that just kept accumulating throughout my research. Even the date of its publication remains a big question. Different image search services give different results. One of them believes it's June 1st, 2022, while another is sure that the first publication was in August 2017. That's a 5-year difference, and I'm more than sure that they are both wrong. Trying to find even a single clue on the internet turned out to be a failed idea. The image with the shadow often appeared on Reddit and almost always generated a lot of interest, but no one ever asked where it actually came from. Even if it had happened, they probably wouldn't have gotten an answer. Most threads are just identical reposts of reposts, and in this chain, key pieces are often missing. In the photo itself, we see the shadow of an unknown person on the grass, whose eyes are bright dandelions. This is quite an interesting artistic decision. There is something a bit unsettling about it, although this feeling is not easy to explain. I managed to find a few similar images, but they have nothing in common except for the eyes in the form of flowers. Coincidence or not, the most popular of them were published 3 years ago, though separately from each other. I don't remember if there was a trend for something like that at the time. Perhaps it's just someone's ordinary photo taken on a walk on a sunny day that meant nothing and became famous by accident. No wonder the source is so hard to find. Be that as it may, the shadow person with dandelion eyes was our last disturbing image in this episode. I was very interested in trying to learn about their origin and tell you about it. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed everything and would like to see more. Next time we'll meet quite soon.